Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we are talking about Fight or Die, and World War IV is already here. So I'm going to share with you guys some videos. We're going to be talking about what's been happening on the mainstream media, and I'm going to let you guys know, if you live in the United Kingdom, if you live in the Western world, if you are alive right now, World War IV is already here. It started, it's begun, your enemy is attacking you, but you've just not been told about it. Why? Because the government have not told you about it. Why? Because the government want you to continue paying taxes, continue going to work, continue pretending everything's okay. But look, ladies and gentlemen, things are not okay. Things are not good. Things are not as they seem. And let me be clear, the days of yesteryear are gone like the snow from another millennium. We are heading into uncharted territory, guys. And look, before I get onto this, I want to let everybody know, because I don't want to get the knock on the door. I don't want to get the knock on the door by Keir Starmer or one of his Gestapo saying that I'm saying that we must fight or die. So let me be quite clear. I'm not saying you guys need to fight or die. I'm saying that Elon Musk this summer said that people in the United Kingdom need to fight or die. So just to be clear, so if anybody wants to get me done, I'm going with what Elon Musk said. And if you want to, if anybody wants to arrest me, you need to go and arrest Elon Musk, and he's the richest man in the world, and good luck with that. So before we get on, guys, because I don't say this enough, I really don't, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share my stuff. I'll put the chat on because that's part of the group chat. So let me just jump into the opening monologue, and then I'm going to share with you guys some videos. So let's just begin, guys. Without further ado, this is a warning to the people of Britain. This is a warning to the people of the West. Ladies and gentlemen, of Britain, men and women from every corner of the United Kingdom, whether it's Scotland, England, Ireland, Wales, and I am saying, like, when I say Ireland, I know Ireland's not part of Britain, but I do think Ireland comes into this context. So, hear me now. Fight or die, the conflict has already begun. It has. The conflict for your soul, the conflict for your streets, the conflict for peace, the war for peace has already begun. And I'm going to share with you guys some videos. Cast your minds back to this summer. Elon Musk live streamed his stark message to London, declaring that humanity must fight or face extinction. He was talking about people of the United Kingdom. He said, violence is not, you didn't choose violence, but violence is upon you, and you must fight or die. I'm not saying that, guys. That's what Elon Musk said. So if anybody wants to Lucy Connolly me, then I'm just quoting Elon Musk. So if you want to Lucy Connolly anyone, go on Lucy Connolly Elon Musk, and good luck with that. But, he live streamed that, and he said, people of Britain, you must fight or die. And I do think that is true. And look, guys, let me be quite clear. When I'm talking about fight right now, I'm talking about the first battles must be in the courtroom. They must be at a legal level. They must be between barristers and judges. And look, guys, wouldn't it be great? And let me just throw this out there. Wouldn't it be fantastic if our little channel could have that influence whereby we could get one of these, a city member of parliament to think, hang on a minute, Raven is right. We do not have any legal framework to protect ourselves from a tyrant. Look, guys, we don't have any legal, and I keep harping on about this, and I make no apologies, zero apologies. Here in the United Kingdom, we have no legal framework to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. So if the government just went cuckoo, and I don't know, let's just say wildly. Let's just say total conspiracy. This is not true. This would never happen. It could never happen in the United Kingdom. But let's just say something wild, like the government of the United Kingdom started cancelling elections and sending people to jail for Facebook posts and online tweets, sending people to the gulag for shouting at the police and agreeing with the government's policies. How would you oppose that? We have no legal framework. So when I say the first battles need to be in the courtroom, they really do. And wouldn't it be fantastic if our little channel, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to make the channel, little channel, a little bit bigger. But wouldn't it be fantastic if our little channel could have that influence where somebody in Parliament, somebody in government could watch this and say, well, hang on a minute. Oh, fuck, yeah. We actually have no real legal framework to protect ourselves against the tyrannical government, because we don't. And whether it's Kemi Badenoch, whether it's Nigel Farage, whether it's somebody on the opposition, it doesn't matter. Can you imagine? Let me ask you this question. If you're, let's just pretend you're a tyrant. Let's just pretend, and this is just total hypothetical, guys. Let's just pretend that Keir Starmer, excuse me, let's just pretend that Keir Starmer is a tyrannical leader. And I'm not saying he is, I'm just saying pretend. How do you answer that question? If somebody, one of the opposition comes up and they stand up and they say, right, Keir Starmer, what legal framework do the people have in the United Kingdom to oppose the government if we turn into tyrants and we start doing mad stuff? How do you respond to that? It's very difficult to respond to that. And that's what needs to happen. The question is fair. The question is honest. I think it needs to be had. And the only way this happens is if you guys keep having that conversation with your friends, with your family, with your loved ones, and let's get that going as a national conversation. But let me pose a question to everybody. Since this summer, and I said this would happen, and I'm saying it's going to happen again next year, can you remember the Unite the Kingdom rally in London? Everybody was waving their flags. They're all going to go down there. They're all going to show the government. They're going to teach the government a lesson. We're going to go down there. We're going to wave our flags. And yeah, the government are going to know. Let me pose a question to everyone. Since the summer, when there were mass protests all over the United Kingdom, does the prospect of fight or die World War IV, war on our streets, seem more or less likely? That's the question, guys. You know, since we all went down, everybody went down there to London and they all went to, you know, unite the kingdom and show the government that, you know, show the government that people are not, the people are not meek. Does it seem more or less likely right now on the 23rd of December, does it seem more or less likely right now that we are going to be in a fight or die scenario? I would argue it grows. The inevitability grows, and I know you can't grow inevitability. I get that. But, you know, it grows by the day. The concept of fight and die grows by the day, and it really does. And I can remember watching Elon on the screen. And I was live streaming at the time, and I missed it because I went for a cup of tea. And I remember watching that and thinking, wow, that is quite profound. And as the days have gone, and as the days have turned into nights, as the days have got darker, both literally and metaphorically, it seems like that's more likely. And that's just me, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. It does. So that's the question. You know, that is the question I want to pose to you guys. Since the Unite the Kingdom rally in London, where high-end estimates were 3 million people attended, does it seem more or less likely that we are going to be in a fight or die situation, World War IV, war on our streets? I would argue that it seems more likely. We need only to glance at the headlines, like literally, guys, if you live in the United Kingdom, just glance at the headlines. Look what the mainstream media are reporting, and then look under that. Look at the undertone. The streets, the shadows creeping across our society. Crime rates are absolutely soaring. And, you know, I saw a statistic somewhere that not Keir Starmer, Sadiq Khan says that London is the safest capital city in the world. I'm like, mate, you're lying with statistics. And do you guys know how you can lie with statistics? It's very easy to lie with statistics. You frame the questions differently. It's very easy to lie with statistics. I mean, Britain has now become the United Kingdom, has now become the rape capital of the world, overtaking Sweden. That's the reality. We have unprecedented heights, whether that's, you know, theft, people stealing from, what's the supermarket they steal from? Greggs, whether they're stealing from Greggs, whether it's assaults on girls, organized violence. It doesn't really matter. Gangs roam our streets without fear. That's the reality. These, you know, the gangs I'm talking about, you guys know the gangs I'm talking about, right? The gangs roam our streets. They roam our cities without fear, emboldened by a government that seems paralyzed, impotent, or afraid to even name the problems. We're afraid of naming the problems. And, you know, I'm from the private sector. I used to be from the public sector. I go private sector every time. I'm from the private sector, guys. And without identifying the product, without naming the problem, without understanding the threat that you're against, you're not going to do anything. You can't do anything. And that's the first step. We're looking at unchecked migration fueling tensions, grooming gangs exploiting the vulnerable, and a breakdown of law and order that's leaving ordinary citizens exposed and defenseless. And that's how I feel a lot of people, that's what I believe a lot of people feel right now, exposed and defenseless. For context, when I speak about World War III, I'm talking about the global storm gathering on the horizon, the escalating horrors in Ukraine, where frozen assets are weaponized, sleeper cells whisper threats, and alliances like Russia and Iran, North Korea, potentially Turkey, tighten their grip, drawing the world closer to an industrial scale conflict. That's real. That's going to happen. You know, more recently we've seen British paratrooper fall on foreign soil. Our leaders are edging towards boots on the ground, preparations for civilian resilience that echo the dark days of the past. But understand, guys, okay, World War IV is not some distant spectre mooching. You know, World War IV, when I talk about it anyway, World War IV is not some distant spectre mooching in the darkness. It's the war within our own borders, the inevitable civil unrest, fractures tearing the fabric of our very own British society. Call it civil war, fractional strife, urban chaos, urban conflict, whatever label we're going to put on this doesn't really matter because it's here. It's here now. And I'm going to show you some videos in a minute that are going to prove this. World War IV is already here. And it's not just here in the United Kingdom. It's here all over the globe. And it is. It really is. You see it on every high street. The battle lines have been drawn between communities. And when I say communities, I mean communities. And communities is the code for diversity and the ethnic communities that are being drawn. The simmering resentment exploding into riots, the terror of random attacks like car rammings at festive parades or a shooting at a celebration abroad reminds us of how fragile peace really is. And look, guys, I'm one, and this is me. I believe you need to fight for peace. You do. I know that sounds contradictory. I believe you need to fight for peace. Because if you don't fight for peace, you will never have peace. And I witnessed this firsthand, like last week or when not like a couple of days ago, when I was out in Eastern Europe. The Eastern European police come down heavy. They come down heavy on people. And that's the way I think things should happen. But you need to understand why that's happening. And you need a police force that is respected. So whether this is car rammings or, rammy, stabby, shooty, blowy uppy, it's daily headlines now. The surge in, I mean, just look at the grooming look at grooming scandals, all right? Let's just look at that. That's the easiest one to look at, If we allow grooming gangs and we do if I was a king, right? If I was the king, if I had uncontrolled control of the United Kingdom and I saw these grooming gangs, what I would do if I was king, and I'm not king, I think I should be king. I do. I think I should be the king of all men. All men. So if you're a man, I think I should be your king. I'd be the best king. I'd be the best king you've ever had. I never will have. If I was the king of all men and I was in charge, when this grooming gang scandal that's hit the United Kingdom, for me, if I was king, I would go to war over that. I would absolutely go to war. I would say, right, what country are these people? Okay, I would say this. I need to be very careful so I don't get banned. So I would say this. If I was king and I'm not king, I would say this. Okay, right. We have a grooming gang scandal. Okay, what is the common denominator? Where are these people from? Is there anything that unites these people, or are they from all walks of life? And if there was something that united those people, like, I don't know, totally wild. I don't know if this is the case, guys. I don't know if this is the case. But let's just say, for example, they were from some, let's just go wild. Let's just go conspiracy. Let's just say they were all from a very small village in country X, all right? Let's just say all these grooming gang members were from a very small village in country X. I would wage war on that country. And I would make sure that nobody would even have the audacity. People would be so scared. People would be so scared because they would know the wrath that I would inflict on them. They wouldn't hurt our girls anymore. I would go full Old Testament. I would have Benjamin Netanyahu phoning me up saying, Sean, you need to go easy on those people. Like, you're going out, you're out of control. Because I do believe in peace by superior firepower. I don't believe in peace by equality. I don't believe in peace by, I don't believe in peace by equality. I don't believe that if everybody feels equal, then there's going to be peace. I feel that people need to be in charge and people need to know that they're in charge. And if you don't think I'm right, if you think I'm wrong, tell me how it's going in the UK right now. Do you feel safe? Do you feel safe when you walk the streets? Do you feel safe letting your girls out play in the park? I don't know. Anyway, we see this on every high street. There's these battle lines between communities, simmering resentments. We've got car rammings, we've got stabby, we've got shooty. And it reminds everybody how fragile peace is and how you have to fight for peace. It's in the daily headlines. We have this surge, this absolute surge at the moment. And guys, tell me I'm wrong. If you guys live in the United Kingdom, tell me there is not a surge in crime rates, because there absolutely is. And I don't want to be overtly negative, and I don't want to point the finger where it shouldn't be pointed. But with mass migration, so I want to close the borders. I want to close that, and I want to jump onto something new. Mass migration is an absolute strain on resources. Now, I'm using my words carefully here. Just like the inevitability, if we continue this, at some point we are gonna be a third world country. I could argue right now that some places in the United Kingdom are already third world countries. But if we continue in the United Kingdom to allow third world mass migrants, masses of migration into the United Kingdom, and look, guys, I'm just giving you guys the facts, all right? And I'm not saying they're involved in crime. You know, I'm not saying these guys are involved in crime. What I'm saying is we need to pay for them. Where does that money come from? Okay, it comes from the taxpayers, right? Okay, the taxpayers are already struggling. Yes, we are. So the more this happens, let's just say, for argument's sake, that we need, I don't know, let's just say we need, I don't know, 5 taxpayers to support every 1 migrant. Okay, that's fine. What happens when we've got 5 migrants for every 1 taxpayer? I'm just talking about, you know, I'm not even being negative saying that anything about crime rates or anything. I'm just saying that hotels, food, accommodation, medical assistance, you know, taxes, iPhones, all that stuff costs money. Where's that coming from? So at some point, and look, guys, somebody somewhere will have a spreadsheet. They'll have it on Excel, because you can do this on Excel, and they will say, right, okay, so we have this many migrants coming to the United Kingdom every year. It's about 50,000, whatever. We have that's the boat migrants. And somebody will have this on a spreadsheet. I promise you, somewhere in government will have this on a spreadsheet. And it will say, and it will be a graph. It will be a projected graph. It's easy to project. And they'll say, right, okay, so this is the amount of migrants coming to the United Kingdom and the amount of money they take. This is the amount of people and the tax they're paying. And that's going to go down. And where those things interject, that's it. That is over. And somebody will have a date on that. I promise you guys, somebody will have a date on that. I don't know what that date is. I don't have the information. But I can guarantee with 100% certainty there are some sort of, graphics, visualizations, Excel spreadsheets where that has been communicated. So our leaders in the United Kingdom, they are preparing us for these external threats. They're preparing us for World War III. They're telling people in the United Kingdom we need to get emergency kits and do community drills. You know, there's UK preparedness, whatever it is, with the website. Yet they turn an absolute blind eye on the internal decay. A society where fear replaces freedom and unity crumbles into suspicion. We used to have a high trust society in the United Kingdom. We don't have that anymore, guys. We don't have that anymore in the United Kingdom. And it's with a heavy heart. And it's with a heavy heart. I'm going to tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. Things will never be the same again. My childhood that I grew up, you're not going to have that for your children. Your children will never be free to stay out all night in the woods, in the forest, in the fields, going to the cricket field in the summer. It's done. It's over. It's finished. It's not coming back. Whatever path we take here in the United Kingdom, whatever the future holds, whether this is through global escalation or domestic upheaval, There is no going back. The world we knew, the Britain of quiet stability and shared values, it's gone. We are at the cusp right now. We're at the cusp. And the choice is ours. Literally, guys, the choice is ours. And I'm going to go back to what Elon Musk said. You either fight for your nation, fight for your families, for your way of life, or you surrender to the death that is perceived right now. You know, the time for complacency is over. You know, really, it is. The time for complacency is over. The first battles must and have to be fought in the courtrooms. And the first battles, the outcome have to be the first win, because nothing else happens without this win in the courtroom. The first win needs to be where the government or somebody in authority let people know that without the legal framework to oppose a tyrannical government, we have nothing. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on right now, first of all, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and bell notification. Second, in fact, this is probably more important, make sure you start that conversation with your friends and family, okay? Make sure you start the conversation. Let people know. Just say to your friends and family, hey, mum, hey, dad, hey, brother, hey, sister, hey, whoever, what legal framework do we have to oppose a tyrannical government? And when they say to you, when you think about, the more intellectual people think about this, the more terrifying it becomes. Because when they say, oh, but that would never happen, we have elections. Okay, what about the government cancelling elections? I don't know. I only go to work Monday to Friday, and then I get drunk Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which I don't think is a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. Right, let me jump up and get some chat, guys, because my hair is getting fantastically long. I don't know how long I can keep this hair. Right, let me jump up and get some chat. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. I've just been conscious. I'm conscious I've just been monologuing for 27 minutes. Leroy is saying, this is true. I can't go fishing anymore without thinking about this mess it's ruined. I don't know what that means, Leroy. I don't know what that means, but I look, I'm up for it, whatever. We have, it's our land and kingdom. We are fighting. We are waiting for, look, guys, forget that. Forget Roberts, forget William and Katie. William and Katie are never going to be king and queen. They're never going to be on the throne. I've got more chance of being on the throne than William and Kate. I promise you guys. Right now, as I'm saying this, I've got more chance of being king than William. I know he's a prince, but I'm the prince of men. And at some point, I feel I should be the king of men. I'm Paul is saying we could go out at 9 a.m., come back at 6 p.m. for dinner, and nothing happened. I think that's what I was saying. Yep, Raven, I say this to my kids. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, children are the future. Educate them well. Educate your children well. The cat thinks he's saying there is a reason I have a lock on my front door. It's to keep people out, and I sure as hell don't reward people if they try and break in. There's a reason I have. Right, okay, I get it. Listen, guys, if you're going to go metaphorical on me, you need to know what right, okay, so the cat thinks is saying there's a reason I have a lock on my front door. It's to keep people out, and I sure as hell don't reward people that try and break in. So what the cat thinks is there is doing, he's making an analogy of the United Kingdom. So if people try and break into the United Kingdom, we let them in and give them a load of free shit. So yeah, I agree. Right, let me jump down, guys. Kenny is saying the royals are totally irrelevant today. This country has more pressing issues. I agree, mate. I don't think there's going to be a King William. I don't think there's going to be a King William. I think there's more likelihood of a King Raven. Can you imagine a King Raven? Can you imagine look, guys, can you imagine how badass the United Kingdom would be if we had a King Raven? King Raven would be the best king you guys have ever seen. Honestly, I would storm into Parliament every Monday morning and I would bitch slap fools. I would storm into Parliament every morning. I wouldn't have a gay crown. My crown wouldn't be a gay crown. It wouldn't. Like, have you seen King Charles, right? And look, guys, this is nothing against King Charles's crown, but it's gay. It is totally homosexual. And I kind of like homosexual belts and like sometimes. But what I'm saying right now is, how gay is the king's crown? It's totally gay. It's like a fag crown. If I was the king, I would have the most alpha crown anybody's ever seen. It would be so alpha. It was so fucking awesome. I wouldn't have the velvet on it. I mean, fuck that velvet shit. I'm the king. I'm the king. Me. I decide what fucking crown I have on my head, and I want an alpha crown. I want an alpha crown. And when people see me coming towards them, both men and women cry, but for totally different reasons. So I would walk into Parliament on a Monday morning and I would just bitch slap people. I would bitch slap people. I would walk into Parliament on a Monday or Wednesday when they've got Prime Minister's questions. I'd walk in there and I just say to people, I say, "What, do you want to go, dickhead?" I'd say, what are you talking about? I'd say, "You on the back row, what are you talking about?" I'd say this to the people on the back row. I'd say, "Right, mate, you on the back row. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is for entertainment purposes. If I was king." I'd say to those bitches on the back row who are heavily subjected to donations, I say, "Mate, okay, you want to pass that law through? Yeah? How about this? How about you go one-on-one with the king? You go one-on-one with the king in the ring, and if you beat the king, you get your law passed through. But if the king beats your ass into a pulp and ends up headbutting you into oblivion, you kind of have to resign." That's what I would do. As King Raven, that is what I would do. I would fuck it. Not just Wednesday. Every morning I would go into Parliament and I would say to people, bitches want a bitch, gays want a gay, Raven wants to Raven. And if you ain't got to Raven, don't apply to be a member of Parliament in my government, because I'm the king of men, I'm the king of England, I'm the king of the United Kingdom, and I would build a military so strong and so powerful that nobody would even dare whisper a war against the United Kingdom. People will be too dogshit scared of the unholy wrath that I would bring down on them, their families, their entire bloodline, and their goldfish. That's how I roll, guys. That is what you do. That's what you expect to find with King Raven. Lisa Jane is saying BBC from in fact, hang on, I'll jump on this and I'll jump back. BBC News an hour ago, Ukraine loses embattled town of Siversk. The Ukrainians are losing town after town, guys. They are losing town after town, minute after minute. It's unbelievable. Somebody did a lot of it. Templar Millie is saying he's been on Lord of the Rings Fest again. I saw that they had There's a Lord of the Rings. There's a Lord of the Rings Lego set being released. It's like a grand or something. Right, let me jump down because I saw. Yeah, Slim is saying Ukraine is fugast. I agree, it is absolutely fugast. Gerald Rivera is saying, who do you reckon would be the toughest world leader during your realm? Vitaly Klitschko match would be interesting. It depends what you mean by tough. You know, if you're talking about boxers being tough, boxing's a sport. You know, there are rules. Do you think Vitaly, or what's his name? There's two of them. There's Vitaly, and is it Vladimir? Anyway, they're the Klitschko brothers, basically. Yes, they're great boxers. They're great boxers. Could they lie in a stream for 12 hours waiting to see a flash in a light in a room, and then when they see that flash in the room, get up out of that stream, go in, destroy everything in that room, set fire to the building, and take vital information? I think not. So it depends what you mean by tough. It really does. It depends what you mean by tough. Oh yeah, I saw this. So Trump, the Times are saying that Trump flew on the Epstein jet. Look, guys, I don't know where the crime is here, honestly, and I'm going to throw this out there, and I'm probably going to get a lot of stick for this. I don't know where the crime is. I don't know where the crime is. I've seen images, right? I've seen video of Trump dancing with girls. The girls look like they're at the very oldest, they're like late 20s. At the youngest, they're mid 30s. All right. So, what's the news story here? Billionaire playboy has group sex with groupies. Like, how is that a story? Like, I would be more concerned if I saw Donald Trump not dancing with those girls. So I don't know where the story is here, guys, because I've not seen those smoking gun images. Like, we're all told that, you know, Epstein Island was a pedophile island. I've not seen those images, guys. I've not seen those images. I've not seen those images. What I've seen is images of Donald Trump in his 40s, early to mid 40s, dancing with a load of girls. So fucking what? Do you know what? I'm going to throw it out there. If Donald Trump didn't get in bed with all those girls, I'm going to call him gay. I'm just throwing it out there, right? At what point are you a billionaire playboy and you don't do that shit? Honestly, where's the story? Like, where's the controversy here? Because I'm not seeing it. Honestly, guys, look, I don't know what's been released, everything, you know, but I'm just not seeing the controversy with the Epstein files. Right, guys, I need to go for a wee. I need to go for a wee. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be back. Let me have a wee and I'll be back. couple of videos to share with you guys. Yes, I have. So the first video I've got to share with you guys is, I don't know where this video is, but I'm going to share this. And when I share this video right now, I want you guys to consider, I want you guys to consider, if this was happening to another religious festival. All right. So let me share this. Tell me what you guys would think would happen if this was, I don't know, for a, let's just say there was a load of Christians. Let me turn the volume off. You guys have seen the video. I know you have. Let's just say that this was a bunch of Christians climbing up and destroying a Muslim festival. Can you imagine Keir Starmer? We need to give another $1 billion to the mosques to protect them. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth does not need protecting. Only a lie needs protecting. Remember that. In fact, let me get the volume on. So this is clearly not in the United Kingdom because of the trees. I don't know where this is, but look what's happening. So look, guys, what do you think would happen if that was an Eid festival, you know, and you had a load of Christians climbing up the or whatever, you know, you had a load of Christians climbing up whatever, and they were doing whatever. Like, how do you think people would react? I know how people would react. It would be crazy. And what I don't think people understand is, you know, that poem I read a couple of times, like maybe like last year or whatever, Wrath of the Awakened Saxon. Oh, it's not Wrath. It's The Beginnings by Rudyard Kipling. That's where we are right now, guys. That's where we are, because when white Christians have enough, when white Christians say, yeah, this is, we're done. We're done with your shit. We are absolutely done with your shit. You've no idea about the violence that will ensue after that. And then over time, things will work their way back. This is Jenny saying, Sean, it's disgusting what they're doing. They should feel the full force of the law. Unfortunately, they're not going to feel the full force of the law. What they will feel at some point is they will feel the full force of Christianity driving down upon them. Then they're going to claim the victim. They'll be forced back, and then we will start this whole facade again. Woody is saying, we're not allowed to be white anymore. Stormers, troopers at your door soon for saying that. Right, I've got a couple more videos to share with you guys. We've done that one. Right, so we've got, I'm going to do this one first, actually. So we've got this one. I've not watched this video, guys. I've not watched this video, so I'm going to share this with you. I'm going to try and let it go through in a wanna. So this is the chief of the British military, and he's giving a Christmas message. So let's see what he says. While we're looking towards a global conflict on an industrial scale, let's see what he's saying.
As Christmas approaches, I want to speak directly to everyone serving.
First of all, look at his eyes. He's reading off a teleprompter. I'm just saying that, guys. He's reading off a teleprompter. And his teeth are bonkers. Look at his teeth. Look at those teeth. Can you imagine being a fish and he's going to eat you?
In our armed forces. Whether you're deployed overseas, on duty here at home, standing ready to respond, or taking some well-earned leave. What defence does and what you do matters. And it matters more now than it has done for many years. I know that many of you have been called upon, sometimes at short notice, to meet challenges across the globe, from Op Interflex and Op HIMAST to operations across the Middle East, Europe and beyond. At home, you've played a key role in enhancing our readiness, looking after our people and modernising our capability. Thank you. Your professionalism, expertise and dedication are what defines our armed forces and are vital to making as good as we can possibly be. Although I am only in my first few months as CDS, it's clear how much you give to your service and your country. You can be proud of what you do. At Christmas, the sacrifices that you make can be clearer to see. Missing family gatherings and traditions, keeping a watch while others celebrate.
I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm not throwing it out there for I'm not throwing it out there for any like other reason than I think it's fair you guys should know. When I joined the military at 16, I was 16 when I joined the military. I didn't have a Christmas at home until I'd left the military, which was like, I don't know, like 12 years later or whatever it was. And I had one Christmas at home, and then I went and worked for the British Embassy, and then the next 5 Christmases I was away again. So yeah, people who are in the military do spend a lot of time away from home.
Serving thousands of miles away from home. But I also know the pride that comes from serving alongside exceptional people doing vital work. The person next to you understands what you're going through in ways that perhaps others can't. And for those of you able to take leave over the period, you've earned it. Rest well, spend time with those you care about, and thank you for everything you've done this year. Thank you. Your hard work matters. People across the country are proud of what you do and know that.
I don't think people across the country are proud. I think we have a culture and a subculture that just don't care. I do. I think we have a culture in the United Kingdom that people that just don't care. That's not me. Absolutely, that's not me. Look, guys, and I will be quite clear. I'm always on the side of the military. I will always be on the side of the military. I will never stop that. Ever. Even if the military are called to do things against the population, I will say, look, I'll try and be as honest as I can be. I'll be as honest as I can be with the truth. But I do think right now we have bigger, like whatever percentages of the population, we have more like if you live in the United Kingdom, you have more pressing matters at hand on whether, and look, guys, I totally get this. And when I'm saying this, I'm saying this as someone who's got a lot of skin in the game in Ukraine. And when I say this, what I'm saying is I've got a lot of skin in the game in Ukraine. I've got friends who I consider family who live in Ukraine. Ukraine is another place that is one of the places I would potentially go and live. But what I also understand is you don't give a flying fuck. And I get that. And I'm not saying that's anything negative. I totally get that. And I understand it. Most people don't give a flying fuck about Pokrovsk, about Dnipro, about Zaporizhia. They don't really care about who's got the world's leading supply of Xeon. They don't care. Most people in the United Kingdom don't, I would say the majority of people in the United Kingdom don't care about who controls the uranium. I don't think people do. What people care about in the United Kingdom is my kid going to get fucking raped? Is my daughter going to get raped? Is my son going to get stabbed? Am I going to get a car ramming when I go out to the supermarket? They are the things that people in the United Kingdom are worried about. And I get it, guys. I do. So when I give you guys this analysis, speculation, and interpretation, I understand all these aspects. I really do. So don't, let's not pretend I understand all these aspects.
That in an increasingly uncertain world, it's more important than ever. The British public depend on you, our allies depend on you, and I depend on you. Look after yourselves, look after each other, and know that your service...
No! Did he just do Jerry Springer? Did he just do Jerry Springer? Please tell me he didn't. Give me a second. I think he did Jerry Springer.
Depend on you, and I depend on you. Look after yourselves.
No.
Look after each other and know that your service...
Can you remember when Jerry Springer used to sign off his... He fucking, are they trolling us? Are we being trolled right now? Is Jerry Springer... Look, guys, Look, guys, can anybody remember Jerry Springer, right? Look, guys, this is the first time I've seen this. Jerry Springer, when he used to finish his talk show and he used to say, look after yourselves and each other. Can you remember that? He's literally become Jerry Springer. I can't not see Jerry Springer right now. So let me rewind this. So remember, like I said, Jerry Springer used to sign off and say...
Every single day of it.
Hang on.
For what you do and know...
So Jerry Springer used to sign off and say, look after yourselves and each other. I'm Jerry Springer and that's the show. Like, whatever he said. Like, let's listen.
Know that in an increasingly uncertain world, it's more important than ever. The British public depend on you, our allies depend on you, and I depend on you. Look after yourselves, look after each other, and know that your service, every single day of it, makes a difference. I wish you a peaceful Christmas and a hopeful New Year.
So there we are, guys. We've got Jerry. So we've got Jerry Springer now. We've got Jerry Springer in. I can't unsee that, guys. I don't even care anymore. I can't unsee that. We now have Jerry Springer in charge of the British military. Tell me I'm wrong. Who can remember Jerry Springer, guys? Who can remember Jerry Springer? Look after yourselves and each other. Like, we've got fucking Jerry Springer in charge of the military. So we've got Jerry Springer, right? Let's see what the defense minister of the United Kingdom has to say. And I've not seen these guys. I've not seen them.
Is professional. 2025 has been a year of deep transformation and remarkable achievement in the UK defence. And the heart of this...
Okay, I don't know what achievements have been... I don't know what achievements he's talking about in defence in the United Kingdom. I've only seen failure after failure. And I don't say that... When I say failure after failure, I'm not saying that as some sort of liberal soy boy. I'm saying this as someone who has deep understanding of the British military, somebody who has in-depth information on the military-industrial complex, somebody who has vast amounts of knowledge of the conflict in Eastern Europe. And I'm not seeing success. I'm seeing failure after failure.
Is our people, you, the men and women in and out of uniform, whose professionalism, skill, dedication keep the UK and our allies safe.
First of all, his tone, rhythm, and pitch seem to me, let me know what you guys think, but to me, his tone, rhythm, and pitch seem a lot more engaging than the other guy. They do. I know he's a politician in the guy's military, but, he seems a lot more engaging at least.
Every single day. The whole nation owes you a huge debt of gratitude. And a similar debt of gratitude
I'm just curious
to your family and your loved ones who support you.
Earlier this year...
Right, look at the Christmas tree behind. I think they've all done the speech behind the same Christmas tree.
We set out our vision for a safer Britain through the Strategic Defence Review. Bold, practical and focused on what will make the greatest difference to defence and the greatest difference to you, our people. This review and our plans will only deliver thanks to the people who make them real. And you have done that in many extraordinary ways. So we want to thank you for all you have done and for all you...
Has he got 2 radios? Fucking whatever. If that's how guys, 2 radios, whatever.
do. A special thanks to those who will be working away from their families over the festive period to keep us all safe.
Now, this year, we've delivered the highest level of military support to Ukraine yet, and we step.
How is this a Christmas message? How is this a Christmas message to the United Kingdom? We have given the most amount of money. We have given the most amount of money to the Ukrainians.
Stepped up our international leadership through the Ukraine Defence Contact Group, and of course, our leadership in the Coalition of the Willing. This matters because European security starts with Ukraine. Your work has also helped strengthen security at home and on the continent and deepen our partnership with our allies. The successful and amazing carrier strike group deployment, our forces in Estonia, Typhoon operations in Poland, and our submarine operations 24/7 are just some of the ways the defence has worked to support global security this year.
Closer to home, our housing strategy, backed by £9 billion, will raise the standard.
What a fucking knobhead. What a knobhead. All right? Look, let me rewind that. This fucking winds me up. All right? So we're heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale. Hang on.
Our housing strategy, backed by...
There we go. So we are heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale. All right? And we've got this guy, I don't know if it's him, spending $9 billion of the defense budget on houses. Look, I lived in military have I lived? No. I've lived in military accommodation. No, I probably have actually. I've lived in, apart from my mum and dad's house, I've lived in military accommodation, British military, no, probably British and American military accommodation. But anyway, I've lived in military accommodation most of my adult life, probably more than 50% of my adult life. That military accommodation, it should be up to standard. Like, the guys in the military shouldn't have to worry about where they're living. They shouldn't have to worry about mold. They shouldn't have to worry about cold. They shouldn't have to worry about damp. They shouldn't have to worry about hot water. They shouldn't have to worry about, you know, anything like that. That £9 billion should not be from the defense budget. It shouldn't. That defense budget should be for guns, tanks, bombs, planes, trains, automobiles, submarines, drones, 5.56, 5.45, 7.62 long, 7.62 short, 50 cal, 12.7, 30 millimeter Radar cannon. That's what that money should, that's what the defense budget should be for. Can you imagine Putin right now? And he's saying, yes, Britain spent $9 billion on houses. How will that affect us, Vladimir? It will not. We are spending our money on drone and Shahid. Anyway, but look at his face. Do you think he knows more than me?
By £9 billion will raise the standard of military family homes to match the service of those living in them. We are implementing the deepest reforms to UK defence.
Who's he? Who's he there with the helmet on?
In 50 years, and our defence industrial strategy will back British jobs, British skills and British innovation, and make defence an engine for growth across the nation, all underpinned by our government's historic commitment to the largest sustained increase in defence spending since...
Remember, defence spending does not mean they're building more. All it means is they're spending more. That's all it means. That's all it means. It means they're spending more. Doesn't mean they're building more. Doesn't mean they're innovating more. All it means is they are spending more. So, right, lads, we've got a new defence budget. What does it mean? Oh, it means they've got more money to spend. What should we do? Fucking put his prices up. Pay ourselves more. Yeah, all right. We are spending more on defence. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's all fake. And the older I get, the more I realise that everything's fake.
the end of the Cold War.
None of this would be possible without you.
Who's she? Who is she? Minister for Veterans and People. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? Is that like a military thing? What? Like, what? I'm the Minister for People. What? What even is that? What? How, guys, can somebody make this make sense? Who is she? And why has she got spots?
The people of defence. Your professionalism, resilience, and dedication are the foundation of everything
Honestly, guys, she's got teeth like a row of bombed houses.
we do. To all those who will be on duty over Christmas, at sea, in the air, on land, both overseas and here at home, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. You carry the weight of our nation's safety whilst others celebrate, and we are deeply grateful.
So when we enter the new
Look at the Christmas tree. I think they're all doing the same thing behind the same Christmas tree.
year, we will continue our work to make Britain more secure at home and strong abroad, backed by our brilliant British industry, innovators and investors. Thank you and Merry Christmas.
Right, okay. I'm going to be honest, right? John Healy's speech, I think it was, I kind of like, I kind of go with that. I go with that. Honestly, let me get a beer. Let me get a beer, guys. Honestly, these people have no idea what they're talking about. And it's so sad. It's so sad that these people have no idea what they're talking about. I mean, like, they're talking about do you know the investors and the innovators? Do you think they're going to be on the front line with bayonets? Maybe some of the innovators will be. Anyway, right. Get a beer, Sean, for goodness sake. I've got one, Roxana. I have got one. Europe made down to Finland raises military reserve to 65. Aims for 1 million troops by 2031 as NATO warns of Russian threat. Look, guys, ladies and gentlemen, whether you believe it or not, look, how many times, well over a year, I've been saying this for well over a year, we are going to be in a situation in the United Kingdom where it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter that Keir Starmer's in charge. It's not going to matter that we've got incompetence, because the greatest threat is going to be stopping those Russians. And that will be the truth. That will be the truth. And I will say to you guys, I said, look, I'll come on these live streams. I said, look, guys, it's dog shit. It's dog shit that we've got Keir Starmer in charge. It's dog shit that the Labour government got us into this mess. But if we don't fight and defend ourselves, we're going to be overrun. And you can argue that we're overrun by Islamists already. But that's where we're going. And that's the sad truth. That is the absolute sad truth. Now, if you guys knew me and knew what I did for a job, and I will release all this at some point, you guys will know the amount of open letters I've sent to the government, me and my partners, saying exactly what's coming next in Russia. In Ukraine. Part of the reason we did this is because I wanted to have that as a documented evidence that look, guys, if you guys think I'm talking shit and that we are not headed, absolutely fine. Go and look at the videos I did a year ago and look what's happening now. Part of the reason that we send these open letters to the government is because in the future, I'm going to look back on them and I'm going to tell people, and I'll release all this information. I'll say, look, guys, for example, when people started using drones, all right, we wrote a letter saying how the drone warfare in Ukraine would develop. Right now, it's happened exactly as we said it would happen. Fiber optic cables, mesh networking, using cell towers for navigation, using Starlink Mini or Starlink Micro, I can't remember what it's called. You know, we said all this stuff would happen maybe 2 years ago, and now it's happening. And when I release all this information, I'll release it at some point. When I release all this information with my partners and, you know, telling people that we've been one of the few entities that are trying to win the war, because everybody else is just trying to profit from the war. And that's the sad reality, guys, okay? People who want to win the war, nobody wants to win the war. They don't. Nobody wants to win this war. People just want to profit from it. I think it wasn't JFK, it was an American president, and he said, when you make war profitable, you will see more wars. He's half right. When you make prolonged wars profitable, then you will see prolonged wars. If you made short wars profitable, a short decisive win, then that's all you would see. You would see short decisive wins, but you don't. Hang on. Let me get this thing. I guess this. Christendom is saying, excuse me, Ukraine biolabs. Look, guys, I've said this a few times. My previous position in Ukraine. Look, first of all, in fact, let me say, and I'll jump back. My previous position when I used to work in Ukraine, I feel I would have known about this. If there were biolabs in Ukraine, I feel I would have known about this. I would have heard about them. I would have, somebody would have told me, Sean, when you're doing your audit, don't go to this location. Don't go there. Don't go there. Whatever. So I feel when I was in Ukraine, I would have known. And look, guys, I'll be quite clear. When I used to work in Ukraine, the only person I used to work to was the chief of staff, who is the president's right-hand man, basically. I was on first name terms with the chief of staff. So it would kind of be like me working with, I don't know, JD Vance. So if I was working for America, if this was the American system, I would be working for JD Vance, and I would answer only to JD Vance. And anybody who asked any questions of me, I would just literally phone JD up and I would say, mate, speak to him, and then I would just go. It was fucking crazy. It was absolutely crazy. So when people say to me, Sean, should we join the army? Should I join? I was like, yes, absolutely join the military. I wouldn't. Look, guys, let me ask you this question. If you're watching this right now and you got the opportunity and somebody said to you, right, whoever you are, do you want the opportunity to work in America for JD Vance, and you only answer to JD Vance? You have all the authority that JD Vance has. You're his right-hand man. You are his eyes and ears. You report directly to him. You go drinking with him. You have fights with him sometimes, because we did have a few fights. Come to fists. Would you say no to that? Absolutely fucking not, you wouldn't. You wouldn't say no to that, because that is a career jumper. That is a career path, all right? That's what I used to do in Ukraine, all right? I used to work to the chief of staff, which is like the second in command of the country of Ukraine. So when we talk about Ukraine and biolabs, look, guys, I'm not saying they weren't there. What I'm saying is I didn't see them. I had nothing about biolabs in Ukraine. I think it's total fake news. I do. I think it's total fake news. JD will be the next president of the United States, 100% fact. So what? Okay, so what I heard is Donald Trump is gonna. So for the next election, Donald Trump is gonna run as what's the word? What's the second president? President in waiting, second president, secretary president. So basically, what I heard is I'm totally on a sidetrack here, guys. I'm 6 pints in. All right, I'm 6 pints in. So forgive me. I heard from my friend in America that Donald Trump on the next election is going to run as the second president. Is it the second president? What's the fucking second president? Whatever it is. So Donald Trump is going to run as JD Vance is going to run as president. Donald Trump's going to run as second president. And then when they win, JD Vance is going to resign. He's going to let Donald Trump then become president. And then Donald Trump is going to then re-employ JD Vance as the second in command. There you go, guys. Look, there's always more ways to skin a cat. Vice president, yeah, vice president. Sorry, guys, but you've all got it. You've all got it. Vice president. Sorry, guys. I'm like 6 pints in or something. I'm 6 pints in. Hang on. Elizabeth is saying we need to fight for peace, truth, and justice. Unfortunately, but that's how it is. We got this. I agree, Elizabeth. People like, and look, if you think that, look, freedom isn't free. It isn't. Freedom is not free. Freedom isn't free. It really isn't. And as Elizabeth is saying, we need to fight for peace, truth, justice. Unfortunately, that's how it is. And that's the reality of the situation. Seven pints in, guys. I'm 7 pints in. Hatch McHatchbirth 4827 is saying Bournemouth was a lovely city once. Retirement place now. I can remember doing some training in Bournemouth on that southeast coast. There's a lot of military facilities. Yeah, Bournemouth's beautiful. It is. Bournemouth is absolutely beautiful. Well, maybe it was. I don't know. If you think Trump and his lot ain't part of the globalists, no, guys, look, let me be quite clear. I think Donald Trump is absolutely part of the globalist agenda. He is. He's absolutely part of the globalist agenda. But he's funny. He's funny and people love him. All right. He's funny and people love him. Look, I don't want to go down this route of globalist agenda because I'm going to be on here for another 2 hours. Yes, I agree. Will Raz 5497. I agree with you, mate. I agree with you 100%, mate. I believe that. I think that Trump is part of the globalist agenda. He's part of the gang. I do think he's trying to do America first, though. I do. I think he's trying to do. Excuse me. I do think he's trying to do America first, and I get that. And and if he's trying to do America first, then surely, undoubtedly, that is a good thing for America. You know, America first is a good thing for America. It surely is. It surely is. There's no way around that. It has to be a good thing. Hang on. Start with defending yourselves, your homes, your towns, your children. Seems like even that is lacking. Do you know what? I'm going to leave that as a final comment. I am going to leave that as a final comment. I'm going to leave that as a final comment. Look, guys, I am going to close this down now. The crux of this live stream has been, and let me be quite clear, I am not saying fight or die. I'm not saying fight or die. I'm saying Elon Musk in the summer said to the people of the United Kingdom that you must fight or die. That's what Elon Musk said. So if anybody wants to knock on my door and say, Sean, you're saying fight, I'm not. I'm go and knock on Elon Musk's door and good luck with that. So Elon Musk this summer said fight or die. And I've been taught, and this is me now, I've been given the strict comparisons between World War III and World War IV. When I talk about World War III, I'll talk about the international. When I talk about World War IV, I talk about the national. The civil war, civil unrest, civil, whatever you want to call it. There's going to be so many different names for it. That is already here. You can see it on your high street. You can see it on your... You can see it on your phone. You can see it in the headlines. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I may no apologize, but the future is dark. It is. The future is going to be dark. Anyway, guys, I'm going to close this down now. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. I will leave the chat on. I'm going to leave the chat on for a little bit. It turns itself off after a while. It does. It turns itself off after a while. But I'm going to leave the chat on. Anyway, guys, I'm going to see you. I will be back on tomorrow morning at 10. Yes, I will, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10. After I may even be 10 pints in by there. I don't know. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, because tomorrow is Christmas Eve. And Christmas Eve is the international... Christmas Eve is the international gloves off. You can be drunk all day on Christmas Eve. So at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, guys, I may be drunk. There's a high likelihood that I'm going to be drunk tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. But who knows? Who cares? It's Christmas. Next year is going to be worse than this year. So enjoy this one while you can. And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 10. Don't be late. And I bid you good evening.